Oh, very good evening, Mr. Krish. Krish, sir. This is the first time I'm going to call you Krish, sir. And Sai Vidya. So,
Yes.
both of you all have been wonderful uh, teammates, I can say, in this beautiful journey. The day when I started thinking, and today I am here presenting my final PPT about my thoughts and my what are my future plans, how I'm going to do, and what I have learned in all these 10 days. So basically, before I start, to make this dream come true, it was a task in itself for me because I was not aware other work would also be given in this. My census work and all will start in this. I thought I was going to be free throughout, but it didn't happen. So there was a lot of multitasking, a lot of negotiation and balancing. Everything had to be done so that I can give these 2 hours of my time to what I dreamt of. And today I am here standing and presenting proudly whatever I have learned uh, to first of all my teacher, and second is my batchmate. So I'm very happy and I'm thankful to God for this small batch that I've got, because I always flourish more in small batches. So God understood that and He gave me what probably I would have wanted. So I start with, I have put a quote over here: to look ahead, one must learn to look back. It is by Henry Dreyfus. So he was an American industrial engineer. And when I was going through a lot of quotes, when I went through this quote, it somewhere clicked with me. Since I'm going to look ahead in life now, and I'm going to take this one more career journey that I'm going to pursue ahead in life, I will always look back in those 10 days, setting aside all the talks and all the beautiful chats that we had, but what I learned, my actual content. And I will always look back in my memory and try and revise whatever loopholes, whatever has been missed out by me, so that I can learn, relearn, sometimes unlearn, and then present a very good polished content to my students who are going to come ahead to me in my future endeavors. So here I start with, I have listed my presentation in these 3 points. First, I'm going to give you a brief information on day-wise learning and all the underlying aspects. In this only, I'm going to talk about the activities that I enjoyed the most, which I have, which was very informative for me, what I learned through them. And, since there were just 2 of us, so it was always solo. That means most of the brainstorming was done individually by us. And we were given, short span, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And in that, we have to come up with good points. It has to be more of in an empathetic manner, not in a sympathetic manner. We have to put ourselves in those students' shoes and think about them, and then only answer. And then what my future plans would be, taking IELTS ahead with me. So to start with, day 1 was when we met for 1 hour, and we met Krish for the first time, and then Sai, and then we got to know about our teacher. We got some time, and then we introduced. We spoke to people about what we are, about ourselves. Basically, we introduced about ourselves, and we got to know who the other person is. I'm going to spend my 10 days with these 2 hours of my time, both of them, my teacher and my classmate. And that is how the introduction went about. And then I came with a blank page in hand. So FAQs, we started with FAQs. How much do I know about IELTS? It turned out I didn't knew much. I only knew the overview, but inside, deeper information I was not aware of. And by the end of that activity, I understood that it is going to be a very, very intensive course for me. Per se, why? But because I don't come from that background. My background is completely different. And here I am trying a different career. So I understood that these 10 days are going to be information packed. So I have to really buckle up and understand and be there and give my best, no matter what. So that was my day one. Introduction went very well. And then we started with each and every skill criteria. The first one which we learned was speaking skill. Like I'm going to talk about how it is going to be. So the speaking skill, a candidate who is going to enter into an IELTS exam first would be starting with a speaking skill exam. It would be for 15 minutes. That is divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is for 5 minutes. Here it is basically introduction by the examiner, where the candidate also gets the time to introduce himself. Passport, ID is being checked, just a general discussion and everything. Part 2, there is one photo missing. Okay, part 2 is where the topic is given to the candidate and a pen and paper is given, and then you're supposed to jot down your ideas and your points and be ready. In part 3 comes the discussion. That will be for 5 minutes, and in that you discuss on the topic that is being given to you. Okay. Yeah. Next, now, when you are speaking, the candidate will be in a flow of speaking, but the examiner is not in the flow of listening. It is not just a general friend-to-friend discussion or something like that. It is an exam. So there will be a criteria based on what you're going to be judged. It's happening. Just a second. 1 minute. Yeah. So there are 5 criteria. First one is fluency, second is coherence, third is lexical resources, fourth is grammatical range and accuracy, and fifth is pronunciation. First, fluency. Under this, the examiner will be checking how much of pauses you are taking. Are you too hesitated to talk? And how's your flow of speech? Is it paused? Is it nice? Or is it going too hush-hush? It should not be too hush-hush. It should not be with long pauses also. It should go very nicely. Second, he's going to check you on is coherence. The ideas. You've been given some time to note down your ideas, your whatever you want to say. So how have you used that time? How logically you have put in your speech? How have you used your linking phrases and but if, although, all of that? How are you actually presenting under pressure, working under pressure? Still, time is given to you. So how well can you you can say present yourself? Third, is going to check your words that are going to be used by you. Are you using all day-to-day common words, or are you going to use those words which are slightly more higher than the updated ones? Slightly higher than the daily ones, the ones which would not be used on a daily way or day-to-day use, but something which is out of the context, something which sort of convinces the examiner that yes, this person does know English, the vocabulary is quite wide. Next comes grammatical range and accuracy. How well are your complex sentences being used? Are you using simple, shorter sentences, or are you using all the grammatical things in it, like reported speech, passive voices, the conditionals? How are you using them? And then last is the pronunciation, the sound of each word, the alphabet, whether it is correct, how much are you using it in a correct manner, how much mistakes are you making, and if you are aware of that mistake, then are you changing? Or sometimes it happens, sometimes you may mispronounce a word, but are you aware that you have mispronounced it and have you corrected it? So the examiner is going to chit chat with you, yes. He's going to talk with you, yes. But at the same point of time, the examiner is assessing you for all these, that time it will look like very, very tiny, but all these small points. And that time you have to be very, very conscious and mindful about what you are speaking. Now, to help students, master these assessment criteria, we have learned about 12 corrective strategy, and that we had learned through an activity. I have not mentioned all the 12 strategies over here. I have mentioned a few. So the criteria could be fluency, coherence, and grammatical range and accuracy. Now in fluency, what could be the weakness of that particular student? So I have written comprehension. If comprehension is the weakness, then what can you do? You can use these corrective strategies. For example, paraphrasing practice, practicing spontaneous speaking, and record and self-assessment. So when you record yourself, and listen to yourself, you understand how good your fluency is, how good your logical reasoning, how good are you presenting, are you sounding confident, are you not confident. Paraphrasing helps you to understand whether what you have read right now, how can you put it in your own words. So all these are going to help increase and better your fluency and coherence. And second one can be grammatical range and accuracy. If your lexical resources are very poor and if you don't know how to use the correct grammatical parts of speeches and everything, then what you can do is you can have vocabulary building exercises with that particular student and conduct mock tests and give a feedback on how the student has performed in the test. So all these are going to help the student, be better when the student is going to be assessed on that assessment criteria. This is the problem. Sorry. Okay. Next we have, there were 12 top takeaway tips for developing speaking skills. I have mentioned 2. You can use games and competitions while you are using those strategies, because the more and more activities and games, and if it's a bigger group and you put it in a competitive way, learning doesn't feel boring. Learning feels very, very active, and the student might want to come to your class again and again and again, offline or online, whichever that is. But if your learning is very boring, just a normal teacher explaining for the entire 1 or 2 hours and the student is just jotting down, the student is going to fall asleep one day. So it is always good to use games, competitions, activities, different kinds of activities, which we have learned throughout our 10 days journey. You can use that, because that way the student, whoever it is, opens up very easily. And then the second one is, whenever you give feedback, always make sure that your feedback is based on the assessment criteria that has been used in the exam. So this is what, in a nutshell, I have given you what we have learned in our speaking skill. I'm going to undo one thing. I'm going to stop presenting. I'm going to not put this in a this, what do you say? Because it is not happening. I'll present it like this only. It's fine, no?
100%. Go ahead. Yes, it looks perfect.
Yeah. Yes. So the next skill that we learned was writing skill. Writing skill was for 16 minutes. Speaking skill was 15 minutes. Here, writing skill, the student will be given 60 minutes, 1 hour to write. And now the writing skill is divided in 2 parts. You can have academic training and general training. Both of them 60 minutes. Task 1, task 2 in academic, task 1, task 2 in general. So the task name is the same. Task 1 is going to be for 20 minutes. Task 2 is going to be for 40 minutes. Task 1 would be for 150 words and task 2 would be for 250 words. Likewise, the same pattern is repeated in general training. Now, I will talk more about this. First, let me give you the assessment criteria. Yes, the assessment criteria for task 1. Now, in this, when I say 1, I'm going to talk about academic and general both. And task 2, academic and general both. Under task 1, you're going to be assessed based on your task achievement, whether you have covered all your parts or no. And then coherence, grammatical range and accuracy, lexical resources. These 3 are same as your speaking skill. Second one is task 2, both academic and general. Here, the assessment criteria is task response. The words are different, but what it covers is the same. Task achievement, under that, they're going to see whether you have covered all your parts or not. But before that, I would like to talk about what is exactly going to happen in task 1, 2, and everything. In academic, task 1, you'll be given a graph, a visual representation, and asked questions on that. So, and task 2 is going to be essay writing. Task 1 in general is going to be a letter writing, formal, informal, whichever. And task 2 is again going to be an essay writing. So in task 1, since you're going to have a visual representation and everything, that is why this assessment criteria is asking task achievement, like how well have you covered all the parts. And in task response, in task 2, they're going to judge you on task response, whether you have presented a clear picture of your opinion, how well have you presented it. That is going to be either in advantage, disadvantage, agree, disagree type of questions. So how well have you presented your response is what they are going to see. Now, usually students, since it's going to be a 60-minute written test, students are always scared what to write, how to write. So we have learned it in a very, very extensive manner. I have not gone so much inside, but I have given you the power technique. The power technique for task 2, essay writing. We have gone even beyond this, and we have seen how each paragraph, what all it contains, how to write them. But now, since I'm giving you a nutshell of each and everything, I'm not going to go inside that. So the solution to your those frenzies that are going to have for writing tasks is power. All power to the person who's going to write this. So POWER is an acronym for planning, organizing, writing, editing, reviewing. First, you're going to plan, have a mind map in your head, and then how well are you putting down what they're asking you to put down. Organize. Don't keep one idea in one paragraph, second idea in the last paragraph. No. So how well are you going to present them? And then you write. You write and see whether whatever you have planned is actually sitting right in front of you in a paper or no. And then edit what all needs to be there, doesn't needs to be there. All you have to, little here and there. And then review what in the end what you have written is proper, is as per what you think is correct. And this is the last way and last actual format. And then you can go ahead and submit. So using this technique, you can always tackle your tasks too. Then we went ahead. We did the third one, listening skill. Listening skill will be for 30 minutes. The person will be given 30 minutes to listen and to write questions. And here you have 4 sections. Each section is going to carry 10 questions. So in all, you have to listen while you're listening to the audio. You have to write 40 question answers. Now, listening skill is not just listen and write. No. Listening skill has sub-skills also. And there are, in all total, I think there are 7 sub-skills. Yes, I have noted that. There are total 7 sub-skills. We had an activity for this. The activity was like this. We were given these sub-skills and we were to match with their definitions. So we had learned that what the sub-skill is, and we also learned what is the definition of each sub-skill. So I remember I did not get all correct. Few I got right, few I got wrong, but we learned what those sub-skills were and what its definitions also were. It was a very good activity for us. First of all, I never knew that there were so many sub-skills. I used to always think listening is just listening, but no. Listening also means exactly what you are listening to. And whatever I'm speaking, you can always take what you are interested and, grab that and keep it in your mind. So listening means a person is listening for a purpose. It's not just listening and then forgetting. So if we can use this activity in our day-to-day life also. Under this skill, we got to do micro teaching, where we first our teacher he gave us a demo class, a small demo class on how to conduct a micro teaching class on listening skill, and then we had to do that. We prepared a lesson in this, and then we had to present this in a very beautiful way, and we got a chance to do that. Yes, we learned. I've made mistakes in that. Good points and bad points both were there. Good points were there because it came naturally, and bad ones were there to improve, which will be carried forward. Actually, the bad ones are always the good ones because they are the ones that tell you where you have to work on, and that is the one which actually tells you where you can always furnish and be a good teacher. So we had to follow these 8 stages, and always keep in mind, no matter where you go, which part of the world of students you're going to teach, these are the 8 stages which you are always supposed to keep. And these are the 8 stages which will always help the student to understand. You're training and teaching the student, you're not testing them. This is that one sentence which has stuck with me. Always remember, don't take it that this is the exam, this is it. My students have to start excelling from now on. No, they cannot. I couldn't do it, then how can they do it when they are students? Correct. So this is their teaching phase. So always be a little empathetic and understand, and go through the audio, whichever skill you're doing, go through them, let them learn. It is like a child who is falling and then learning to come up again, fall again. So that is going to happen always. So these are the 8 stages we were supposed to use and give our presentation. And my classmate was my student that time. So it was a very good experience. Next, we had a reading skill. Reading skills, we learned that it was for 60 minutes. It will be for 60 minutes. Number of questions will be 40. 3 long passages will be given, and you're supposed to read around 1,500 to 2,500 words in that short span of time. Academic training has a different passage, and general module training has a different passage. So in this, we learned there were a lot of other sub skills in this, but what I have taken, which we have gone into and done, is 3: skimming for general information, scanning for specific information, and intensive reading. So based on this, we did an activity. So we were given, I think we did 2 activities in this. So we were given long passages and skim them, scan them for specific information, and give our teacher a general idea. That was one activity. And second activity was we were given, I think, a task, and that would go under which one, whether it would go for skimming, scanning, or whether it would require both skimming plus intensive, scanning plus intensive. So that activity was useful. It taught me, personally, it taught me how to actually use the skimming and scanning. Otherwise, it is usually thought that it is all the same. Skimming and scanning, both of them are just reading the passage, but it is not. Skimming is always reading the first line and the last line of your para, whereas scanning is actually going through words and going through very fast reading. You have to scan so that you can find out what information you're looking for. And intensive reading, we all do that. So it's very simple. Last, this was the end of all our techniques, all our skills that we learned. Last were the few, I think, last four classes we had. I have clubbed everything them together: classroom management techniques and others. First one was how to be a successful exam teacher. Course planning, how to do them. If I were a course planning manager or something, the activity was like that. So what would and different case studies were given to us. Yes, through case studies we understood that you cannot have just one way of teaching for everyone. I cannot take you as a teacher from 2 students and put you with 25 to 40 students, and then my teaching strategy is the same. No. Under post planning, we understood that if you have to always don't be in a hurry or happy. Oh my God, I've got a student to teach. No. First, if a student is coming, first talk to the student. First, get to know the student's profile, where the student belongs exactly. How much does the student already knows? Is the student coming from a how fluent is the English? Is it mother tongue is very much dominating in that particular child or a person? So you have to thoroughly check the student's profile, and then you have to see where exactly you are going to put your strategies that you know of into the child. Then only the child will flourish, or the student or the person will flourish. Otherwise, if you're going to have the same strategy, then there is going to be no results. So that is what the case studies and the course planning taught us. We were given different cases, and what would be our strategy, our plan of action for each and every student. That was a very beautiful activity which was given to us. Then we learned about online versus face-to-face teaching, which is better. Sort of a debate only happened that day. Which one is better? Then we came to a common understanding that it's always both. When you have both in your hand, it always better hand to hand. You achieve best results. So that class was based on that, online teaching versus face-to-face teaching. And then the last one is providing error feedback on learner production. Here we had also learned about error correction techniques. All of that we had learned about the class, which I couldn't attend much, but still, from what I remember was the different error correction techniques were being taught to us on that day. So that was a gist of all the classroom management techniques and other things that we had learned apart from the teaching skill. And the last one thing which I remember was whiteboard your whiteboard, how you're going to manage. Is it going to be very haphazard here and there? In the end, the teacher only will be confused, what have I written? So if you manage, if you organize, if you create sections, subsections, and put them in a logical way, don't write everything. Write what you need, what needs to be written, and then only, even if it is very small, convey that. It is not important that you have to always convey, big things or a lot of things. Everything what I have written on my paper needs to be on the board. It's not important. A gist of things, if it is written on the board, that is enough, because that much also if the child remembers in the next class, that means the teacher has done a very beautiful job, a wonderful job of teaching for the past 1 hour or 2 hours or how much ever time you have taken. And then last would be my future plans, what I want to do. I will start teaching IELTS. First I'll have to prepare my own course, my own you can say lesson plan, how I am going to go ahead. But I will first start teaching, and then after a few years, when I'm stable with my personal life, with my children growing up, then I will become an IELTS examiner. And then I wish to create my own content and put it on YouTube. And that is my future dream. So let's see how well it goes. I hope one day I start doing that. Yes. So that is my future plan. And that's that. Thank you.